Is Grace Clibourn. I'm part of the staff team here at Igniting Hope. And I'm so excited to be here joining you guys. This is my first time doing a YouTube Live, Facebook Live with Igniting Hope. And so my heart's beating a little fast right now because I haven't done one of these in a while, just in general. But I'm really so excited to be here with you. And as you can tell by the title of this live video, I'm going to be talking about dating. I know it's a topic that every Christian, single Christian, just kind of cringes at sometimes. And I feel like it's a topic that can be neglected when it comes to talking about it in our churches and talking about it within the context of Christianity. And actually this past weekend I was at church, and the person I live in Austin, Texas. I'm not in Reading with most of the rest of the staff. So, hey, Angela. So I go to a church out here in Austin, and the pastor was actually talking about dating this weekend, which was awesome. And he was talking about how dating is not in the Bible. But there are lots of other things in the Bible that can help to guide us in how we're going to walk it out. So things that are in the Bible are honor, love, integrity, the importance of good communication, right? We can find all of those things. And so I actually spoke on dating at the Igniting Marriages conference last month. And I spoke on a topic, I think the message was called How to Stay Hopeful in Your Dating Season. And you'll be able to access that conference in a little while. I think it's going to be made available as a course. Can you correct me if I'm wrong, Angela? But if you want to hear that entire message, you can access it through that course that will be coming out. Today, as I was preparing, I was thinking about essentially reiterating that message, staying hopeful in your dating season. But then I was thinking, you know what? I just saw a comment. I was thinking, you know what? I think what a lot of us could use is some practical advice, right? Like, how do we actually do this? And some things that I want to cover, I wrote a few things down, is how to know when you're ready to start dating. Okay, I'm going to cover that. How to get started. So once you know, okay, I think I'm ready to start dating. Hi, Tanya. What do I do next? That's a really good question. Okay, how to let someone know that you're not interested. And also, how do you ask someone out? And I do believe that girls can ask guys. I'm not against that. I think it is in every girl's heart to be pursued, but I've asked guys out. I've done it. And so I can let you know how I've done it. And for the single guys watching, maybe I can help to give some tips on how to ask a girl out, right? Thank you, Elizabeth. I think we need to talk about this more. And then I have okay, so, and then it's just like general encouragement. So how to ask someone out. Yes. Okay. And then, so you guys, if you have any other questions, I can see all the chats here coming through YouTube and Facebook. So put your questions in there and I will answer them. This is going to be fun. And I kind of wish that, I almost feel like this could be a whole series, because I feel like we just need so much help, right? Like, there's so much fear. I think just in general, dating can be scary for people in general, in or outside the church. But I think in the church, we tend to put so much pressure on ourselves, and it's really unnecessary. Angela is asking, what do I do for Igniting Hope? I am our social media coordinator. So I get to have fun making graphics, creating reels, posting those amazing hope injections that we all love. So yes. So good, Antonio. Good boundaries and tips to keep dating pure and holy, but keep them interested. Okay, these are such good questions. I'm going to answer that question, Antonio. But first, I kind of want to lay a foundation. But keep asking questions. That's not me saying don't do this yet. put questions as they come to mind, and I will get to them. Okay. Yay, guys, I'm actually so excited to talk about this. Okay, so how do you know you're ready to start dating? Okay, this can be tricky because dating in general can be nerve-wracking, right? And a lot of times when we feel nervous about something, when we feel anxious about something, we assume that it's not for us, or we assume that it's not our season, but that's actually not true. I think there's a few ways that you can realize whether you're ready to start dating. I think one thing is why, like having your why in order. If you're wanting to date just because, I mean, there are so many. Okay, so I think yes, having your why in order. Why are you wanting to date? Are you just wanting company? Are you just, you know, wanting to date around and not actually look for anything committed? Or I think a healthy thing for how you know when you're ready to start dating is you feel grace for it. Okay, I think that's real. I think sometimes we want to be in a relationship, but we're like, God, I just can't get there. Like, there is no grace for this. And you feel like the Lord is actually asking you to focus on another area of your life. Okay, maybe focus on that area of your life and then come back to dating. I think you know you're ready to date when you actually have time to date. Okay, because this is something that you're investing in. You are investing your time, especially for men. You're investing your money because you want to treat your date to dinner, to coffee, to whatever it is. And so you have to actually make space for that. So make space, make time, make financial space. I would say too that if you are struggling with any areas of lust or addiction, that's something that you can really be talking to your pastor about, your counselor about, and getting some freedom in that area. Not because like it disqualifies you. I don't want anyone to hear that. But because you're going to end up projecting some of these ideas onto women, or for women onto men, and it's not going to help you go into it with a healthy mindset. So I would definitely say that's how you know you're not ready to date yet for that. And so I actually want to share a quick story about how I knew that I was in my dating season. So just kind of give you a picture. So about a year and a half ago, I was driving out of a young adults meeting, and I was leaving the parking lot, and all of a sudden I had this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I think it's going to happen soon. And all of a sudden I just had this like crazy amount of hope just like hit me. And I was like, what is going on? And I went to the grocery store right after that. And I was in like the aisles, and this man walked up to me and told me that he thought I was beautiful and asked me for my phone number. And that was not something that was normal at all. It always felt like I had this veil over me. Like it always felt like guys that I liked just couldn't see me. Even guys that I wasn't necessarily interested in, they still couldn't see me. Like I felt invisible. And that night I felt like it lifted, and I didn't say yes to the date because he was from a different faith. I ended up asking him about his faith. But yeah, so it was so interesting. And then about a month and a half after that, I believe, or maybe even sooner after that, a guy that I knew from college texted me and telling me that he wants to pursue me. And so he and I dated for about 3 months, and it was long distance, which ended up being really difficult. So it didn't work out, but he was actually my first ever boyfriend. And at the time I was 30. And so it just was this weird thing where I felt like the Lord actually opened the door, and it felt like the Lord was like, okay, Grace, it's time to start focusing on this. And I think in the past where I was at, I was a little bit in survival mode. I was a little bit like hopping around from here to there, just following the Lord, not in a bad way at all, but just like not really in a place where I could actually focus on a relationship. And I felt like the Lord knew that I was ready to actually focus on a relationship and find a husband. And it felt like that door opened, and it was awesome. And so I'm not saying that everyone needs to have an experience like that, but I will say that there is a special grace that does come on you when you are ready. Like when your heart is ready, your heart is open, and there is grace. And I feel like it's a timing thing for sure. So I would be praying into, I would go to the Lord and ask, like, Lord, am I ready to start dating? Is there anything that I need to clean up in my life in order to make room for someone? Is there any place that I need healing in order to start being able to date in a healthy way? And then be honest with yourself, like, how am I doing emotionally? How am I doing mentally? Am I ready to handle this? So I don't think you need to overthink it, but I think you do need to think about it. You know what I mean? Instead of just jumping into it. So anyways, I hope that was helpful for knowing how you're ready, if you're ready to date. Am I saying that right? Knowing if you're ready to date. Okay. And then I'm going to do this next point, and then I'm going to look at these questions. So my next point is how to get started. Okay, so you went to the Lord. You're like, Lord, am I ready for this? And he goes, yes. Okay, what do you do next? Okay, this is my recommendation. My first recommendation is to reach out to your friends who you know have great friends, right? And ask them if there's anyone that they can set you up with. That's my favorite. My favorite is I love to just be set up. Okay. I love it when I have a friend who's like, hey, I know this guy. You guys should get to know each other. That's my favorite. I think that you should, ask people that you trust and that and that they have great friends. Reach out to them, see if there's anyone they can set you up with. And then I'm also not against dating apps. I have a really good friend right now, and she has been dating her boyfriend for about 9 months, and they're like getting pretty serious, and they met on Hinge, and she's a believer, he's a believer. They're both very strong in their faith. He's a leader in his church, and they met on Hinge. And so I am not against dating apps, and I think dating apps can be kind of stressful. Okay, I get it. Like, you're meeting completely random people. But I will say, after I went on a couple of my first Hinge dates, I felt something break off of me. Like, I was all of a sudden not afraid anymore. I was like, oh, I can totally do this. I can totally do this. It felt like I just needed to like convince my brain that it was okay to do, and that it was like safe, and that I don't owe anyone anything. Just because I go on one date with someone, 2 dates, 3 dates, it doesn't mean I owe them anything. Okay. And I think that's actually something that women struggle with. I feel is like, actually, when I bring up the topic of dating, especially with younger girls, but it could be for anyone, is like, okay, so they're ready to date, they're ready to open themselves up, but they're like afraid of getting in a situation where someone asks them out and they don't actually want to go with them, or they go on 1 date or 2 dates or 3 dates and they just feel bad and they don't know what to say. And I want to dispel that that's a hard thing to do. Okay, so first of all, I do think that we should say yes to more dates. Okay, because at this point, I feel like unless someone is giving like serious red flags, pretty much anyone is worth a first date. Okay, like they don't have to be your Prince Charming, or for the men, they don't have to be what's like the other side of Prince Charming, Cinderella or something. I don't know. They don't have to be that. You can just go on a date with them. Just take someone out and prove to your own mind that it's not that big of a deal. Okay, and you can say no. You can totally say no. You can say no to a first date. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of, okay, say I'm a girl and well, I am a girl, and say I am like standing in the lobby of my church, and a guy walks up to me that I already kind of know some of his character, and I know that he's not someone that I would want to go on a date with. And he walks up to me and he asks me if I would like to go on a date with him. Okay, this is what I would say. I would say something like, I am so honored and flattered that you would ask me that. And I just want to commend you for coming over here and asking me that question. I do have to let you know that that's not something that I'm interested in, but I don't want you to feel discouraged from this, because I'm actually really thankful that you did ask, and I wish more people would do this. Okay, so that's how you let someone down in a really kind way. Thank you, Angela. Okay, and then say you went on one date with someone and you're like, I don't know if I really want to hang out with them again. We didn't really gel. Like, I didn't have fun. And they say they text you and they're like, hey, had a great time. Do you want to do this again? You can say something like, hey, I so appreciated our time together. I loved learning this about you. I think, kind of, you want to sandwich it. But you want to be genuine about it. You don't want to just like say things to say things, because people can feel that. So you can say, I really appreciate this about you. I'm so thankful for our time together. Thank you again for buying my lunch. I don't know if this is something that I want to pursue further, but I so appreciate your time and I wish you all the best. And something that I have literally said to someone, that I went on 3 dates with him and we go to the same church. And so I told him, I was like, please don't be a stranger if you see me around at church. I would never want to be a reason why you feel uncomfortable being there. And yeah, it was, sorry, I'm reading this. Oh, okay. So Vicky says, excellent declines. Please emphasize the need to not ghost, but to be mature and letting people know that you're not interested. Yeah, I think especially if you've gone out with someone or if you've already made plans with someone, I think it's really important to have integrity. And so it's like, if I had a friend and we had, a plan to go out for coffee, and I just like didn't confirm with them the time, or I didn't confirm with them the place, like it'd be weird. It'd be really weird, right? Or if a guy is like texting you and he's trying to get to know you, or a girl, because there's guys watching too, right? A girl is texting you and you're not really interested. It feels better too. I'll tell you this, okay? Because I have ghosted in the past, because I have had in the past so much anxiety around dating. I've gotten a lot better, thank you, Jesus. But that's through practice. I'm not going to say that went away overnight. It did not. But I have ghosted, okay? Not recently, I promise. And actually, I hate the feeling. I hate it because it's dishonest, and I hate feeling like I'm doing something dishonest. So it actually feels so much better to be honest with someone. It really actually feels like a relief. Okay, so let me go back. Oh, Elizabeth has been married for 37 years, and it came from a friend setting them up. See, that's the best. It's great because they're a stranger to you, but they're not completely random, and you have a little bit of context for who they are. You also know that your friend wouldn't, set you up with a psycho, hopefully. Just kidding. Let's see. Elizabeth asked, or she said here, so true, time today. I think that is a great question to the person pursuing me. Does he have the time to date me? Commitment, readiness is super important. It is, because I know for myself, once I felt the grace to date, I felt the grace to date in order to find someone, like not just to date around. And so if I start dating someone and then realize like they don't have time for me, I'm kind of like, didn't you like think about this beforehand? It kind of feels funny. Okay. Antonio asked, Antonio, I'm getting to your question. How do I keep good boundaries, tips to dating pure and holy, but keep them interested? Okay. So I would say, Antonio, someone is going to be interested in you because of you. So you don't have to do anything extra, anything special to keep them interested. You just have to be yourself, because that's also the way that you want someone to want you. You want them to want you for you, not because of extravagant things you do for them or because of physical things. You actually want someone to want you for you. So just that little end part of your question was kind of like a little insight for me when you said, but keep them interested. And so I just want to affirm you in that, Antonio, and let you know that you don't have to do anything special to keep them interested, because someone who's interested in you they'll enjoy your personality. They'll like your sense of humor. They'll appreciate your character. You'll have things in common, and they'll just naturally want to be with you. So keeping good boundaries and dating pure. Yeah. So there's some really good teaching on this, especially by Moral Revolution and Jason Valentin. They have really good teaching on this. And the main thing is to decide ahead of time what your boundaries are and to communicate it. Communication, you guys. Communication. Like, let's talk about it. Like, you have to talk about these things. You can't assume that you're on the same page. You really can't, because even if someone goes to the same church as you, does not mean that they're going to be on the same page with boundaries. So that's a conversation that you need to have once you guys are in a relationship, or even before you're in a relationship, and just be like, hey, just need to make sure we're on the same page. That's how you know you're going to keep good boundaries, is because you tell them what your boundaries are. And you've already decided what your boundaries are, right? And so that's how you're going to keep it holy. And then you're going to keep them interested by what? Just being yourself. That's it. And it's actually so much better than trying to put on a show, because then you're not natural and like, ugh, no one wants that. No, everyone just wants to like get to know you for you, relaxed, normal, having fun, being yourself. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions. Okay. Please feel free to keep putting questions in here. Yes, Elizabeth said. Yes, the earlier comment tells you my late husband passed. Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I read that wrong. You're on a reset. Yes, Elizabeth, if your heart is ready, then go for it. I would just say have fun. Find someone you can have fun with. Obviously, you've been married previously, so you know how relationships work. But my encouragement to you would just go out and have fun. I feel like that should be the goal. And Elizabeth also said, I agree, identity-based dating versus performance-based dating. So freeing. It's so, okay, that is something that I will say, is that I was dating for earlier last year, 2022, right? Yeah, because we're in 2023 already. Early on in 2022 is when I first got on a dating app. And I would go on dates, and I felt like I was extremely guarded. I don't feel like my sense of humor was coming through at all. I felt like I was like treating these guys like my brother, like, and where, I don't know, it just like was weird. Like, it just wasn't, I was being so unnatural, and I realized that I was like really holding back my personality. And so I challenged myself to just be completely myself. Actually, no, I didn't challenge myself. My friend Tabitha challenged me. She was like, Grace, for the next 3 months, no matter who the guy is, I want you to practice being 100% yourself. And this was also in a time where I was taking, she had me do this challenge when I was taking a break from a dating app. And she was like, I just want to add on to that. And she's like, I challenge you to no matter who the guy is that you're around, be completely yourself. And it was so freeing. So I think that's a good practice for everyone, men or women. Just really practice being your complete and total self around the opposite sex and just get used to it so that when you're on a date, you can be completely yourself. Larissa says, no luck for me, but I won't give up. No, Larissa, don't give up. Don't give up, because he's out there. And I think sometimes we also run into this lie. I think a lie that has actually become a stronghold in the Christian church is the idea that there's not enough out there, that there's not enough great Christian men or women. And it's not true. Like, our churches are flooded with great Christian men and women. And I feel like that's like a mental stronghold that somehow is in our head. And it's such a lie, because it keeps us from saying yes to dates. It keeps us from asking people on dates because we're being too picky or whatever it is. Like, we have to let that go. Peter, or I'm sorry, I'm saying your name. Payer Lucas. I'm really sorry if I said that wrong. What app is good? Okay, so I know that there's Upward, which is a great Christian dating app. But I like Hinge. Like, you can put your non-negotiables in there. And so I put my non-negotiables that they have to be a Christian. And then when you actually go on a date with them, you find out what kind of Christian they are. Sometimes they're great. And sometimes they're like, why did you even have that on your page? Larissa said, any advice on what's the best app for 50 plus? I'm not sure if I know that. I would try those same ones and see how they are. I think it also depends on your area. So I'm in Austin, and it feels like Hinge is a great one for that. But Larissa, you could try Hinge, or you could try Upward. And you guys, we have discernment. That's the thing too, is that someone could put Christian on their profile, but you need to pay attention to your gut. We need to pay attention to our gut. We're getting on there and we're like, something's kind of ringing weird in our gut, but they say that they're Christian. They're saying all the right words. Just don't do it. You got to listen to the Holy Spirit. Oh, Elizabeth is throwing out some there too. Yeah. So, okay. How to ask someone out. Okay. I am not against women asking men. I know that it's not fun for girls. We don't really like it, but you can do it. I've done it. I feel like for girls, it's like, I haven't done it in a while, okay? But I'm not saying that you can't. I think you absolutely can. You can walk right up to a guy and say, hey, I'd actually really like to get to know you more if you're interested in grabbing a coffee or some lunch sometime. Or like on social media or on an app or something, you can definitely send people a message. Here's the thing. Every single person is going to be flattered if somebody asks them out. Okay. Like, unless like you feel like it's coming from a weird place and it's like, ooh, I don't like that. But if you know that they're coming from a pure place, it's flattering no matter what. So, and then if you're a guy, okay, this is a thing. This is something that I think women really appreciate. Okay. I think women, appreciate when you ask them in person. Not that you can't, but they appreciate when you do. And I think they appreciate as well when you clarify that it is a date. So, I was talking about the pastor at the church I'm going to here in Austin this weekend was talking about dating. And he was telling everyone about when he asked his wife, on their first date. He clarified. It was over the phone, and he was like, want to know if you want to, I don't get dinner or something. And she was like, yeah. And he was like, just to clarify, this is a date. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if guys do that enough now, but I think it's an honoring thing to do. I think it sets the tone of what's happening. It's setting expectations. The girl isn't going to go and be confused, or wondering like, did he, because, say, no, Caleb said, no, we don't. Sorry. I forgive you. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing to forgive. But yeah, I think it's something that brings actually a sense of peace to the situation because what's going on. It can be hard sometimes when you're like, was it a date? Was it not? I don't know. Were they just trying to like get to know me as a friend? Like it can be confusing. And so that's something that women really appreciate. So something else that a resource that I want to point people to, and I'm going to wrap this up in the next few minutes. So if there's any more questions, please send them through. But a really great resource that I want to send people to is the Moral Revolution podcast. And it's with Jason Valentin, and it's a message called The Relationship Ladder. This is it's a message that I've listened to multiple times, especially when I'm like dating someone new or something like that. I want a refresher of like, how is it that I think it's the relationship ladder or the intimacy ladder. And it's kind of like, these are the steps that you take that are kind of like the proper steps to take in a way that's going to keep your heart safe. And you're going to build a relationship in a healthy way. So that's on the Moral Revolution podcast, the intimacy ladder, I think it's called, with Jason Valentin. So if you're ready to date, if it's your season to date, and you just want a little bit of instruction on how to do that, that's a really great one. And then, okay, if you define the date beforehand instead of coffee, doesn't that increase pressure or set you up for rejection? So I think you would probably have to be clear with yourself on what you're looking for. So if this is a girl that you want to date, that you're like, I want to get to know her, I would hang out with her for a few times. You could say, yeah, this is a date. But I think it actually may create more confusion when you don't know what's happening. Because that's happened to me before, where guys will, or a guy, it hasn't happened a ton. Oh, thanks, Angela. It hasn't happened a ton, but it has happened. And I've actually just left feeling so confused. Like whether it's coffee or they invite me to like a group volleyball or group paddleboard, because I guess Austin, we do a lot of that kind of stuff here. And I just was left confused multiple times. And I kind of wish that I had known what he was doing, because I could tell that he was kind of interested, but he wasn't being clear. And that actually was kind of hurtful. So I would say if you're going to ask someone out, to know what do you want? Like, what do you want? You could even say, I just want to take you out to coffee, get to know you a little bit more. So you don't need to say, this is a date. If it's someone that you're like, I want to date, if like, Payer, I hope I'm saying that right. If you're like, I know this girl and I want to date her, like I want to take her out on dates, I want to make her feel special. Yeah, I was friend zone, Caleb. I totally was. Then you can approach her and say, can I take you out for lunch after church or something like that? And just want to let you know that this is a date. That's romantic. She'll love it. But if you're not sure and you just want to take someone out to coffee, you can say, I'd love to get to know you a little bit more, wondering if you want to go to coffee, because that feels a little bit, at least you're giving them some context or some insight as to your intentions. But I think when intentions aren't clear, it creates a ton of confusion and some frustration and maybe even sometimes some hurt. Yeah, Caleb, shoot your shot and remember you made your shot. That's so true. So the very last point that I want to hit on is you are not obligated to like anyone after a first date, after a second date, after a third date. You are not obligated to continue to go out with them. It's okay. Like if you go on 3 dates and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm having a lot of fun with them, then you'd be like, okay, I think we've kind of run our course. And you can I went through a little bit earlier in this video on how you can let someone down in a kind way. And then you can kind of use one of those. And one of my really good friends, she would always tell me that the point of dating is just to see if you want to keep dating someone. Okay, do not go into a first date wondering if you could marry this person. Don't go into a third date wondering if you can marry this person. Don't go into a 10th date wondering if you can marry this person. Go into, your first couple months of dating just like, can we have fun together? And as you go along, you find out whether your values are in line. You find out whether you can communicate with each other. Valley Girl accent. Yeah, I do have one. Yeah, like the point of dating is just to find out whether you want to keep dating them. That's it. And then the pressure's off and you just get to be yourself. You get to see whether this is the one you want to keep dating. So, anyways, I hope this is helpful. I can always check back in if someone has questions later after this live. I can check back in and maybe respond in the comments. Maybe I'll do another one on this topic. But yeah, and I think if I do it again, I do want to bring some more scripture into it. I think today was a little bit more off the cuff, like let's talk about it. Let's talk about the practicals. But yeah, I think the Lord is so in your dating season. He knows your timeline front and backwards. And he knows who you're going to end up with. And I think another really helpful thing too is that, some people talk about, I know my pastor right now was talking about it and about how sometimes people are afraid that they have the gift of singleness. And he was saying, if you're afraid that you have the gift of singleness, you probably don't have it. Because that desire is in you for a purpose, because God created us with desires. He created us with dreams. He created us with visions and talents. And if it is, if it's something that he's put in you, it means it's something that he has for you. So don't give up. If you've had a bunch of disappointing dates recently, I'm really sorry. I know it can be so frustrating, can be so hard. Sometimes it really can be such a battle, like a battleground in your mind. But I want to encourage you to don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going on dates. Keep just focusing on having fun, breaking off lies, breaking off strongholds, breaking off any walls, like pushing past any walls that you're hitting. Go on more dates, say yes to more people, give more people a chance, and really get past those walls that you're coming up against, because I know what it feels like. And I know that you can get to the other side of it. This is nice. Thanks. Will this be your scheduled day/time each week? I'm not really sure. I think that's an Angela question. I think there's a bit of a rotation with everyone. So I definitely want to come do this again. I just don't know what that looks like yet. Elizabeth, I'm glad you're talking about this. Yay! I'm registered to take the Coons' dating discovery coaching class. That's awesome. I love them. I took their class. I think I did dating discovery when it was in like right when it was starting. I think it was like a testing phase, and they're really great. They're amazing people. So yes. Okay, you guys, we can do it. We can do it. All right. I was looking for I was trying to figure out how to stop this because I've I haven't really done this in a while, but actually I want to pray and then I'll be done. I didn't realize I've been talking for this long. Father, I just want to bless every single person that's watching, who's listening live or later. Father, I ask for courage in their hearts. And God, I ask for any strongholds that's keeping them from dating, keeping them from meeting people, keeping them from saying yes to a date. God, that it would fall off in Jesus' name. God, that the fear of dating would just fall away. The fear of being obligated to someone would just fall away. The fear of feeling like they need to find their spouse. Like, God, all of this stuff just to fall away, and that you would give us vision for what our dating season can look like and what you're working in us in our dating season. So, Father, I just pray for courage. I pray for grace. And Father, I just say yes and amen to all of the people who desire to be married that are watching this and that are listening to this. I just say yes and amen. And I just want to say, don't give up. Don't give up. Amen. Oh, I just saw. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just saw a bunch of these messages. Anyways, I think we're good. Okay, you guys. Hopefully I'll talk to you soon and go on some dates. Okay, bye.